Matt and I are still recovering from our cold that we had, our little creeping crud, I called it. Actually, I'm feeling a lot better. I still sound kind of funny, but Matt's the one that feels really bad now, so hopefully he'll be better in a day or two. Because of being sick and kind of losing a few days to just kind of laying around taking it easy, I didn't get to share with Matt one of the things I got him for Christmas that was going to be a surprise, so I'm going to make it for him today. It was chestnuts. I bought some chestnuts. I want to roast chestnuts. I've never had roast chestnuts, and I don't think Matt has either. So I found them. I don't even remember what got me to thinking about that I would like to roast some. And I'm sure it was some kind of Christmas something. If not one of the songs that mentioned chestnuts, maybe it was something else. Anyway, but I found these at the Chestnut, let's see, what's the Chestnut Experiment.com, I think is the name of it. I'll link in the description below where I got them in case you're interested in getting some. So I'm going to roast them, and they've got directions on their website, and that's how I'm going to roast them. We'll just see how they turn out. You see, I couldn't resist. I've already been eating one or two of them, and they're really good. I hadn't had chestnuts in so long. So these are, grown in America. It says that's one of their things. But these are not like the real, I think of the real chestnut, like the ones that my Papa Wade would have enjoyed. The chestnut blight, of course, wiped out all of those. And chestnuts played a huge role, and you can do a lot of research on it. I'm sure you can probably find some videos. I bet Donnie Laws has got one. You can check his channel. But chestnuts played such a huge role in the mountains of Appalachia and in other, all the way up through the East Coast and other places too. But in the mountains of Appalachia, they just served such an important part of life. When you think about feeding livestock, feeding yourself, the way I'm going to do today, selling, it was like an income, so it was a way to make money. There was just so many different uses. And then that was just the actual chestnut. And then you think about the wood. The wood was just such a great wood. I've read accounts, and Pap told me this, that women in those days always wanted chestnut because it was so easy to start a fire with it when they were the ones building the fire, in the wood stoves. So many different uses for that wonderful wood. And then the actual chestnut, feeding mast for the wild animals, but even people gathered it to feed their hogs and different animals like that, and then of course feeding themselves. Anyway, I want to read you this little short excerpt. I've got it on my blog, so that's an easy way for me to read it on my phone. But it's from Roaming the Mountains with John Paris, Chestnuts, Only Memories Stand, and this was in Burning Town. So he says, and John Paris is one of my favorite writers about southern Appalachia. He wrote about western North Carolina, which is where I live. So that's the general area, and I really love him. Sometimes you can still find his books. Most of them, there's been a couple, I think 2 that have been reprinted. Most of them are out of print, but if you ever see one of them, get it because it'll be really good. It's John Paris, and this one is Roaming the Mountains is from it. And I think that is actually one of the ones that may have been reprinted. They stand like gaunt, whitening skeletons among the living giants of our mountain forest, and the old man grows nostalgic and a bit sad when he looks upon them, for they remind him of his lost youth and of something that will not come again in his time, if ever. A part of the sadness stems perhaps from the knowledge that his great-grandchildren have been deprived of a birthright. For when he was a boy, and even in his grandson's youth, there was no finer sport than to go hunting for chestnuts on a crisp fall morning when frost had opened the big burrs and spread their fruit among the fallen leaves. The only reminder of that era are the whitening skeletons of the chestnut trees which survived the axe only to die under the whirlwind ravages of a mysterious blight. The only chestnuts you see now, said the old man, are a few brought in from some foreign country, and they're not like the kind that grew here in the hills. But when I was a boy, and up to 30 years ago, chestnuts were a right common thing here in the mountains. Folks even had chestnut orchards, same as you have apple and peach orchards today. Why, I remember in the fall when the chestnuts started falling, I'd go out there every morning while my wife was getting breakfast and pick up 2 gallons before she got the coffee on the table. Reckon the most I ever took to market at one time was 12 bushels. Got $1.25 a bushel for 'em, which I took out in trade. Now that was a lot of money back in those days. Everybody hunted chestnuts back then. folks who didn't have chestnut orchards would get up parties and get a covered wagon or two and go off into the hills where there was a good stand of chestnut. They would camp out and be gone 2 or 3 days, coming home when they had got their wagons filled up. Then that wasn't sold, would furnish goodies for the children and the grown-ups. We'd serve them up boiled and roasted, or just eat them plain. If you boiled them, you could keep them a long time. One of the ancient dishes of the Cherokee Indians was chestnut bread. It was still made by them here in the mountains until the last of the chestnuts disappeared several years ago. The blight that struck the American chestnut is believed to have come into this country on Chinese chestnuts, which despite a high percentage of infection show too a degree of resistance to it. No immunity existed in our American tree, which was one of the giants of our Silva when DeSoto came this way. From the time the blight was first detected in 1904 in the New York Zoological Park, it spread like wildfire, sweeping across New Jersey and Pennsylvania and into all parts of the country. So really interesting look back there, and that was written many, many years ago, of course. Interesting that the people's memories, though. I'm so glad that they've documented and that they're down. And that part, the beginning part I was looking back at about the skeletons, that's what Pap could remember. Pap could remember, he told me that, said I'd be hunting and I'd see like a ghost shimmering, shining, and I knew it was a chestnut tree. I knew it was an old snag, old chestnut tree, still kind of shining. He said they always kind of give him the creeps because he'd see them off in the distance and they'd be kind of almost like they were hovering or waving or something. But it was that skeleton look to them, just where they had faded from being there. And then my Papa Wade, though, of course, could remember when they were still, still producing and you could still gather them. And he kind of right along the lines of what John Paris was writing, he said the same thing, said that where he lived, and I think this would have been in Madison County. He lived in Madison County, is where he was born, and Graham County, and then here in Cherokee County, and some in Clay County. But I would guess this was either Madison County or Graham County. Anyway, but there was a wagon road, and then there was kind of a bank above it, and there was chestnut trees on it. And then when they would fall and they would open, they'd roll down into that road, into the ditch. And he said they would just walk along that ditch and pick them up with their tow sacks, and before you know it, they would have many, have them all filled up. It just didn't take long at all. Kind of the same as what John Paris is talking about. They were just everywhere. It was just easy pickings, if you will. Now, today, and even prior to today, for many, many years, people have tried to bring back the chestnut trees, and there's lots of different programs you can research and find out about them. And a lot of times they'll get the trees to live so long, even to be a pretty big tree, and then they'll get the blight and they'll die. But they're still working on that, so I hope somehow they can figure out how to bring them back. That would be wonderful. So now that I've probably told you more than you wanted to know about the chestnuts, the first thing the website told me to do was to take the chestnuts and to make a little X on them. Now, I Googled on YouTube and found another video showing how to roast them, and they had some variations, so they just cut a hole. It didn't have to be an X. I'm going to aim for an X since I'm going to do it this way. And the video I found on here said, I just watched one, so there may be others, but it didn't, it just wash them and then roast them. Now the website, which I'm going to follow that, after you get the little X cut, or at least cut a hole in it so that the steam can escape, is what that's for, then you're supposed to let them soak in some boiling water for, I can't remember if it's 30 minutes or an hour, and then you roast them. So I'm going to go with the directions since that's where I bought the chestnuts. But first of all, I'm just going to try to go through and put me a little X and on each chestnut. And the website that had the chestnuts, they also have other little things, and one of them was some kind of scoring tool. I'm sure that would make it easier, but I didn't buy it. I just thought it says you could use a paring knife or a little tool, so I thought, well, no, I'll just use what I got and then see how much we like them, and then I might buy one. And they kind of have a flat place, so I'm finding it very easier to put the flat place down and then do my little X there. I thought about having them ready for Christmas and letting other people taste them too, but I knew it was likely. It's always so the busyness of trying to cook and get everything ready, and Then I thought I'd do them just the day after, but then my creeping crud present took effect and that didn't happen either. I really love chestnuts. I've not had them in a long time. And the chestnuts that I've had are the Chinese chestnut variety. When I don't know, when I was a girl, it seems like there was somewhere that somebody would give us some sometimes. And then there used to be, I guess it's still there, a tree at the Fall Festival barn. At the festival barn if you've been to Fall Festival, then you know where the barn's at. But the festival barn at the folk school, there used to be one out there. And then when I worked many, many years ago, when I first met Matt, and I worked at Lake Logan in Haywood County, North Carolina, there was one there, and we would get them sometimes and eat them. That's probably might be the last time I've actually had one. I'm just butchering that one. I'm just gonna leave it. Some of them seem to be harder than others. Of course, you'd want to be very careful and not cut yourself doing this. My X's are by no means neat. I'm just doing the best I can. I think the one on YouTube that I've seen where it said just as long as you get some kind of hole, I'm sure that, or maybe the X makes it easier to peel afterwards. I don't know. I'm aiming for the X, but some of them are more like just a jagged hole. I'm really excited to try them though. I love them raw. Like I said, I couldn't resist, and I've already eaten some of them. Thinking about those old ways of eating them, like John Paris was talking about. Chestnut bread. They would grind them into bread to make meal, like chestnut meal. Lots of different ways. Boil them kind of like, or cook them like you would corn, and then dry it, like hominy, like a process like that. Not really hominy, but just boil them and then dry them and then cook them, grind them. So lots of different old recipes you can find, like historic recipes like that. There's probably lots of other places too, and you can get the chestnuts. I just found that site. You might even be able to buy them at your local grocery store or something like that. So this was one of Matt's presents that he didn't know about. I could have given them to him and wrapped them up, but I just thought I'd wait and surprise him. And then I don't even know if he can taste them today, but maybe they'll give him some energy. If they are good, I have to make it part of our every year. See if anybody else likes them. I know me and Matt probably will like them. If anybody else does, they may be too finicky to try them though. I can't say nothing though. Well, not when I was their age, Corey and Katie's age now, but when I was young, I was very picky and finicky about stuff. Wouldn't eat but certain things. Once I met Matt, he would make me try stuff though, and then him making me try stuff made me realize there was a lot of stuff I liked that I just didn't know because I was too silly to try it. You'll have to tell me too. I'm sure a lot of you have roasted chestnuts before, so please leave all your tips and tricks. And maybe you don't even do this part. Maybe this is unnecessary. I don't know. I should have already had my water going and boiling. It will take but a minute for it to boil. I lost that one. I have to pick it up. I'm about made it though. Got them all scored. Need to get the one out of the floor, and then I'm going to get some water started, and then I'll show you what we do next according to the recipe. We'll have to check back and make sure I'm right. I've got my water boiling, and I'll read you off of the website the recipe, but also I want to read you the back of the bag because this is new information, different than what I told you. So this says American grown chestnuts. These chestnuts are unlike most consumed in America. They were grown by pioneering farmers who have been carefully stewarding trees that thrive despite the blight that wiped out the American chestnut tree over 100 years ago. By enjoying these chestnuts, you are planting the seeds for an abundant forest-filled future. And then it's got the website, and I will put that in the description below. chestnutexperiment.com. Anyway, very fascinating. So maybe it is the real chestnut, real live thing, real old thing like I was talking about. So now we've scored the chestnuts like we were supposed to. So now it says soak the scored chestnuts in hot water bath for 10 minutes. Place your chestnuts in a heat-proof bowl and add enough boiling water to fully cover. Preheat your oven to 300 degrees. So let's put them in here. Okay, let me get the water. Pour over them. Cover. Okay, we'll let those soak 10 minutes. I'm going to preheat the oven and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, our timer just went off, so it's been 10 minutes. So now the last step is line a baking sheet with parchment paper if you're using it. I'm going to use some. Remove chestnuts from the water bath with a slotted spoon and place them on the sheet. Be careful when handling chestnuts. May be hot, of course they are. Pop that pan into the oven. Roast for 1 hour at 300 degrees. So I've got the 300 degrees oven waiting. Let's see if we can lay them out on here. I'm so excited. I don't know why. My whole life I've never had them. I guess just because of all the stories and songs and different things. I just can't wait to try them. May find out that I like them better raw. We'll just have to see. Give them more room. Okay, I'm going to pop them in the oven. We'll wait an hour and then we'll see how they turn out. And maybe Matt will fill up to at least tasting one. I got them out of the oven, let them cool just a little bit, and I couldn't resist. I already eaten one of them, but here comes Matt. He'd heard me doing the whole video, so he already knows what they are. I don't know, do you like chestnuts anyway? Like raw ones?
I've eaten them before, but it's been a long time. I can't remember that much about them.
Well, let's see what you think about the roasted one. I think that little X does, of course, let the steam out. And it said if you didn't do that, they might explode in your oven. You like them? But
yeah,
it also makes it easier to peel, I think. The first one I had, I wasn't so sure about. It does seem like it made them sweeter. It's been a long time since you ate chestnuts, though. Can you remember?
No, it's been so many years I can't remember.
They're not bad. I think they're sweeter.
They're sweet.
Much sweeter than the raw ones. Well, this was one of your Christmas presents. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, dear. That's very nice.
If you just felt good enough to eat it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling poorly.
I know. You peaked. Got the palpitus of the punch.
A galloping consumption.
Galloping consumption.
Yeah.
Well, I won't make you eat more of them, but what do you think? This is something you'd want to do again, or?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Wonder after you roast them how long they would. I mean, I'm sure you could put them back in the refrigerator or something, or I wonder how long they'd last.
I don't know.
It's too hard to get open. I don't know if Katie will try one or not, but we'll try to get her to see if she likes them. Katie, have you ever had a chestnut? She's like, no way. So.
No.
Yeah, I think I'm amazed at how sweet they are.
Yeah, they're real sweet.
The door blew open. It's very windy here today.
That's a big wind.
Well, maybe this will be what cures you.
I don't know. I hope something does. Something's gonna have to.
Well, we hope that you enjoyed coming along for this kind of last Christmas present that I didn't get to share with Matt. I wasn't going to do it on Christmas Day. I thought about putting them in giving you the whole bag. But then I thought, no, I'll wait and surprise him when I roast them. And then because of us being sick, it's just never happened till today. But we hope that you enjoyed being part of Matt's last Christmas present. And please, if you've roasted chestnuts before, share your information, share what you like to do with chestnuts, or if you don't even like chestnuts, you can share that too. We're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia.
Chestnuts roasting on that open fire.
Thanks, Katie.
I had to.
You couldn't resist.
You can't eat chestnuts. I'm sorry, you don't have teeth. And the teeth you have wouldn't handle that. Don't think so. But later, maybe, one day.
Pretty good, but I'm just not sure I like them as good this way as raw. This made them really sweet though.
Yeah, they're super sweet.
How come? I wonder how that does. Like,
Put pressed on
I guess
them,
like,
did you?
huh? They put anything on them.
Yeah, I do. I'm just, my goodness.
He just feels bad.
It's okay if you don't like them. You can tell
I
the
do
truth.
like them.
You can
You
tell
don't have to
him.
pretend that you like them just for the camera. If you don't like it, you just don't like it.
And he wouldn't. Your daddy ain't like that. He don't have no problem saying he don't like something. He don't have no problem with that.
Let me see. What do they look like? Have one over here. That's interesting. Are they soft now that they've been roasted?
Yeah, they're
Kinda.
softer.
They ain't got much of a smell. They're furry. That's kind of cool. Kind of weird, but kind of sweet. Fibrous, I guess, would really be the word.
Now, interestingly, I got these from the Great Chestnut Experiment, and it says these chestnuts were unlike most consumed in America. They were grown by pioneering farmers who have been carefully stewarding trees that thrived despite the blight that wiped out the American chestnut trees over 100 years ago. So that's like saying that these are the real deal, instead of I figured they were Chinese chestnuts.
Do you think that the blight's really a conspiracy theory and they tried to take the trees out just because?
No,
Mess with the
not back
American
then.
commerce?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think conspiracy's been going on from day one, if
You
you
think
ask me.
everything's a
I
conspiracy.
don't think so.
It's not conspiracy if it's the
I think
truth.
people just didn't realize when you bring plants into different areas that it brings little stuff with it.
No. I think a lot of people just don't want to admit the truth.
Okay. Well, I think they're pretty. I just can't believe how sweet they are. I mean, it's about like candy.
They're
No
really
wonder if
pretty.
you didn't have like candy like we have today. When Papa Wade was a little boy, you'd have loved this because it's really sweet.
Yeah, if you, absolutely.
Is
You don't
it
wanna
nutty
be-
or like, you know how?
It is nutty, but it's unbelievably sweet. Now they're not as sweet when you eat them raw. They're just more nutty. But like it is a sweet nut. I mean, but most nuts are, right?
I don't know.
I think so.
Acorns ain't.
Oh, I've never ate an acorn.
But you're not supposed to.
Matt says acorn, and I say acorn. Acorn.
That's because
Acorn.
you talk like you're from above the line, and I talk
You
like
ain't getting the
where I'm
chestnuts.
from.
No, I
You
talk.
just
I
not for a
can't
baby?
help it. I say acorn. Acorn.
How are you supposed to say
Acorn.
Going to where you from.
I just say acorn.
Okay, you do it wrong too.
Well, I'm sorry. I can't help it.
I don't know. Just the judgment's out. I'm gonna have to get me another raw one, and eat it and compare. But I'm thinking I like them better raw. Although this is good and it's really, really sweet. Okay, you're discharged. You can go back to your bed.
I'm gonna go lay down.
Okay.
Go back to the sick bed with your
Go back to your
chestnuts,
sick
you old
bed.
man.
I need drugs.
Go back to your sick bed. You need some more tea?
Huh?
You need some more tea?
You're wild.
I need something good night.
Wild. Come on, let's take you over here, wild man.
Okay. I gotta cook us some supper. Chicken,
If you say the wrong thing, you're out.
green beans, potatoes. Can you eat that?
Yeah, just whatever. I don't care.
I didn't have any appetite.
I ain't got much. My problem is I'm cold and I'm sweating at the same time.
Yeah, I've been
Did you
there.
have that? And it's icky feeling.
Those are just straight up like sugar. All right, go You want me to get you a heated blanket? No, you won't use one.